Bonjour everyone, I hope you were all very well. Today we are looking at 2022 horror movie X. This is something I had no idea what I was getting into when I went in, but was very happy to say it was excellent. It ended up being one of my favorite films of last year, and I want to take you through some of the reasons I thought it worked so well. I am very excited to get into this, but I would like to say I'm enjoying very much looking at horror content lately. Last week we took a look at The Menu, and soon after this we'll take a look at Pearl, a sequel to X also released last year. If you have any other recommendations for films we could look at, let me know in the comments. But without further ado, here we go. The movie takes place in 1979, and immediately I think the first thing most people notice is how well shot this is. It's absolutely one of the biggest assets to the film, not only with the creativity like the very first shot, opening with a 4x3 and then pulling back showing the barn doors framing it, but through the whole film, they do such an excellent job of making this really feel like a 70s flick. It's one of the reasons I love this film, as it reminds me a lot of the classic slashers, like Texas Chainsaw, Friday, Nightmare, Halloween, and a few others, and while I think the genre, especially lately, has been producing very fun slashers, there's nothing quite like that old school setting. I did see some people saying this movie starts off slow-paced, and it absolutely does, but I recall majority of slashers starting off this way, with a slow build as we get introduced to our characters, the setting, the environment, and we get subtle hints at the killer. The reason the slow build works for me here is I think the characters are fantastic. We have this group of young adults shooting an adult film, trying to make it big in the industry. All of them have very different perspectives on the situation, but they're all there for the same reason. Maxine, who is our main character, wants to be famous. She wants to be a star.
You're a fucking sex symbol.
Wayne, her boyfriend who's funding the shoot, shares the same sentiment with Maxine, as he doesn't want to have to work a 9 to 5, rather he's looking to make it big in the industry and earn a lot of money.
Does it matter?
Hey, I don't want to have to wear a hard hat to make a living. Do you?
RJ, and for majority of the film, his girlfriend Lorraine, have this notion that they are creating something better than an adult film, and they come across having a superiority complex to the rest of their peers.
Well, that's because I'm not treating it like pornography, but as cinema, and that's what these other adult films are lacking.
We're gonna be rich. Feel how hard my cock is.
Although Lorraine does change her outlook on the situation as time goes on.
I want to do a scene in the movie. Nobody's coming to see this film for the plot. They're coming to see tits and ass.
And then she eventually changes it back.
I never should have listened to you. This is all your fault.
Then there's Jackson and Bobby Lynn, who don't necessarily care what the outcome is, as they're just going there for a fun time, and they're getting paid.
People spend a lot of money to look at what God gave me. It'd be a sin not to take care of them.
That's so.
They all venture to a secluded farm in rural Texas, staying at a guest house owned by an elderly couple. The elderly couple, husband Howard and wife Pearl, seem a bit closed off, but nothing unwarranted enough, so they continue on with the shoot. From here on, everything starts to kick off. We get a wonderful shot of an alligator chase scene, which is extremely nerve-wracking, as well as a creeping old lady. After this though, we start to see the main theme of the movie come into play. Mostly the entire film is centered around the connection and parallels between the youth and the elderly. More specifically, Pearl and Maxine as the film goes on. By the way, Mia Goth plays both Maxine and Pearl and does a flawless job. Just a fun way to add to the themes of the movie. Anyways, once out of the water, Maxine gets invited to the main house by Pearl since Howard ran to town, and she accepts.
Much obliged.
So for the next few minutes, we get this amazing sequence of cuts back and forth between them drinking lemonade and the young cast shooting the scenes for the adult film. It is both funny and unsettling as they cut from the goofy dialogue in the film to the awkward sit down with Pearl and Maxine. And the dialogue, although goofy, actually correlates directly to what's happening at the house.
Sure is hot out there. You must be awful thirsty.
Yes, ma'am.
The moment we get of Maxine and Pearl alone allows us to really see the themes of the movie shine through, and also to see why these two are so connected. Pearl is a direct representation of everything Maxine doesn't want to be and what she fears she will become. As Pearl reminisces on her youth and how life didn't turn out the way she wanted, portraying a somber outlook on her past, Maxine up to this point has been shown to be constantly reminding herself to not end up like that. She doesn't want, as she says numerous times, to live a life she does not deserve.
I will not accept a life I do not deserve.
Maxine, as I'm sure many of us, have some thought or level of fear in the inevitable reality that is aging. The portrayal of old age in this film comes across as a very sad yet real truth. Although not everyone will end up like this, obviously, it's something we can't help but think of from time to time, so seeing it play out makes us sympathize with them. Especially since the film intentionally cuts back and forth between the youth shooting their film having fun, to Pearl brokenhearted because Howard isn't able to dance and do the things they used to due to his declining health issues.
You know I can't. My heart.
The first 2/3 of the film are great to me. It gives us a chance to get emotionally invested with everyone and feel the weight of that contrast between young and old. Then it kicks off. The movie suddenly turns into a full-blown slasher. After the whole ordeal mentioned earlier with Lorraine wanting to join the adult film, her boyfriend and director of the film, RJ, reluctantly go along with it. After the shoot, when everyone is sleeping, RJ decides he's had enough and tries to leave them all stranded by taking the vehicle and ditching. Only he's stopped in his tracks when he sees Pearl standing in front of the van. He gets out to try and help her, as he thinks she's probably out of it and lost, wandering off somewhere. This is something all of the characters do, because while they have a negative attitude towards aging,
Harmless, he's just old. His pecker ain't probably been hard since before you were born. I'd hate people like us then too.
they also sympathize for the couple as they feel they would need help.
My Nana gets confused sometimes as well. I learned all about it.
However, Pearl tries to come on to RJ and he's repulsed. He tries to direct her to find Howard, and this makes Pearl snap. We get the first kill of the movie, and also the most gruesome death, as she repeatedly stabs him like 30 times. I legit had to look away, and I don't get put off easily by things. Regardless, this was a fantastic scene, and it's finished in this almost cathartic shot, as in the red lighting from the blood on the headlights. Pearl dances slowly to the music of the van, symbolizing her feeling of rejuvenation in that moment. From here on, it's the classic slasher spree. Bobby Lynn and Wayne get taken out by Pearl, and Jackson gets taken out by Howard. During this sequence, we also get some creepy, touchy-feely moments with Pearl and Maxine, and a wild scene later of Maxine having to crawl out from under the bed while Howard and Pearl rekindle their flame. We lead on to the climax where we see Lorraine is still alive, having been trapped in the basement. Maxine rescues her, only for Lorraine to run away, blaming everyone for her being in this situation. It's one of the funniest and most shocking moments of the movie when Lorraine is blasted with a shotgun on her way out. It turns out that the final girl isn't the innocent, or perceived innocent, do-good girl, but rather the final girl is Maxine, a subvert of expectations to the trope of the genre, and also the person who's had so much direct correlation to our main antagonist throughout. She truly won't accept a life she does not deserve.
I'm a fucking star! The whole world is gonna know my name!
Howard then hilariously dies getting jump scared by Lorraine's last gasp, and so it's just our two main characters left, Pearl and Maxine. A look in the mirror almost. Pearl blows her own back out trying to fire the shotgun, and Maxine finishes her off, ending the terror of murderous revenge from the couple and symbolizing her taking out the aspects of herself she refuses to become. She snorts a line and drives off into the sunset, leaving the movie with a positive ending. Well, and also the cheesy one-liner we get from the cops after everything happens.
What do you think is on it?
By the looks of everything, I see one goddamn fucked up horror picture.
I thought this movie was a wonderful showcase of what a true slasher could be, and I cannot wait to take a look at Pearl next. For two movies in a 3-part trilogy to be released in the same year, both being very well received, is an incredible achievement. I am very confident the third installment into the trilogy, Maxine, will deliver as well. Until then though, I hope you had a very fun time looking into X with me. Peace.